Good morning! Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. My name is Graham Day and I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend. They call him Baby. Sorry, I'm not a
Oh, baby. Baby! Morning, guys. Hope you're doing alrighty this Tuesday morning.
Quite a big day today in terms of...
It is a big day.
I just thought, you know what, Tuesday, January, second week back. Yeah, so that's fine, whatever. But in terms of the amount of content that we've got, the stories that we have, there's a bit of substance that's happened in the last 24 hours or so. So
yeah.
pretty good.
Agreed.
One thing I am going to do though is open up the Twitch chat because I don't have it here because I'm well prepped.
Okay, well, I'll just say hello to number one pirate that's in the chat already. Good morning, kind sir. How
Hello.
are you doing? He loves using that emote when he joins the chat room.
We need to set up some rules so that anytime someone joins the chat and uses that emote, you have to say it exactly.
Okay, that's fine.
Like
We'll enforce that as of tomorrow.
just imagine like a really, really strict sort of like horror stream. The tension's building.
Hello! It would make everyone shit themselves.
But anyway, if you are in the chat, please feel free to use the hello emote or any of the other emotes that you can get by subscribing to the channel, or any emotes from any other channel. It'd be good to see you guys in the comments. We are Ice Cream and this is The Scoop, our daily dose of news from the games industry and beyond. We bring you this at 10 a.m. every single weekday on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads. If you were in the chat, you guys get to interact with us, give us your thoughts on our thoughts on all the happenings in the games industry. Around an hour after the show finishes, we put it into a standalone on-demand video podcast on YouTube. Funnily enough, it's youtube.com/Ice Cream Uploads, like all of our social media channels. And then a little bit later on in the day, we turn that audio podcast, that video podcast, into an audio podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and saving the goat till last, SoundCloud. Shout out to all the SoundCloud listeners, by the way. You guys are smashing it in terms of our stats. Thank you very much for the support, for everyone that is watching us live on Twitch, watching us on YouTube, and listening to the Scoops audio podcast. Very, very much appreciated. Every single one of you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But yes, let's jump straight in to our first bit of news then. No beating around the bush because we could waffle potentially on this for some time, so
yes,
straight into it. And you can see written by Emily Gera. I'll move our pip down there. Emily Gera for VG247 says Sony confirms that it is skipping E3 for a second year in a row. Just want to mention one thing. PlayStation was born on December the 3rd.
Fuck's sake, here we go.
Here we go. Was born on December the 3rd.
Strap yourselves in,
if you want to remember that for the end of the year, then it'll be my birthday on December 3rd.
This is going to be the longest 11 months and 2 weeks ever.
That's not actually what I was getting at, though. PlayStation was born on December 3rd and has been at E3. I was born on December 3rd and have been at E3. We've never been seen in the same room at E3 together. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's almost like the Spider-Man thingy, but not at the same place. Wait, no, what? Anyway, so PlayStation will not be making an appearance at this year's E3. Instead, the company is planning to attend hundreds of consumer events internationally, stating it doesn't feel E3's vision is right for what it has planned in 2020. Lost the article. There we go. In other words, don't expect a PS5 announcement at E3 this year, which none of us really expect. We all expect it to be coming probably next month. But anyway, let's move forward. After thorough evaluation, SIE, which is Sony Interactive Entertainment, has decided not to participate in E3 2020. There we go, it goes into it straight there. Sony Interactive Entertainment told GamesIndustry.biz today, we have great respect for the ESA as an organisation, but we do not feel the vision of E3 2020 is the right venue for what we are focused on this year. We will build upon our global event strategy in 2020 by participating in hundreds of consumer events across the globe. Our focus is on making sure fans feel part of the PlayStation family and have access to play their favourite content. We have a fantastic lineup of titles coming to PlayStation 4, and with the upcoming launch of PlayStation 5, we are truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans. This will be the second year in a row that Sony does not attend the event in Los Angeles. Last year, the company offered a similar excuse for its decision not to attend E3 2019, stating that As the industry evolves, Sony Interactive Entertainment continues to look for inventive opportunities to engage the community. Sony is hardly the first major publisher to ditch E3 in some way. It started with EA, which announced in 2016 that it will host its own event, EA Play, in parallel with E3, and other publishers have also been reducing their presence at the show in the past few years. Even so, E3 remains one of the largest video game trade shows of the year. Just want to point out that it didn't actually start with EA. It probably didn't start with Konami, but I know this from working with them over the years. Konami had an E3 presence and pulled that before 2016. It was like 2014-ish kind of time. They used to do the pre-E3 shows, so kind of like a Nintendo Direct or the PSX stuff. Konami was well ahead of the curve in that sort of sense. They made their 30-minute videos that they would air pre E3, kind of like E3 is like a Tuesday and a Wednesday. It would come out on a Monday and a Tuesday kind of thing. So Konami were kind of ahead of the curve in that sort of sense. But yes, not surprising, another brand has pulled it out of E3.
I think it's the right move for them. They have mentioned that they want to go to hundreds, I'll say in air quotes because that's what they've done, of consumer events internationally. E3 is probably one of the most expensive events to try and save up for if you're not in America. Like for us to try and get over there, stay, visit, get passes, food, drink and everything that are over there is probably the most expensive part of the year when it comes to going to events. So I've never been. I know obviously we at Jelly go as a business because that works for us, do you know what I mean? We're obviously looking for business while we're over there. But as a consumer, it's probably the one that I would have loved to go to 3 years ago. As an actual consumer, going down on the shop floor and having a look around and things like that. But I think Xbox was over the road last year, weren't they?
Yeah.
It wasn't even in the conference centre themselves as well.
So, like Xbox and... After that, so about 4 o'clock this morning, after the announcement came out, which was last night, I was reading it while I was in bed actually, because I sent you a link on WhatsApp. You probably, I think it was like 11ish when I saw it.
I was well gone by then. I haven't seen it this morning.
So yeah, after that, about 4 o'clock this morning, Phil Spencer, obviously, Xbox, has said that they are going to remain loyal to E3 and stick. And I'm thinking, you weren't in it.
Yeah, he was in the. Is it the Microsoft Centre, like over the road?
It's the Staples Centre, which I believe Microsoft sponsors or owns. Yeah. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, we're going to be there in our house next door.
We can see the venue from here, but we're not actually going to be there. But yeah, I mean, at some point, E3 is not. I don't think it is. I mean, when we obviously the Gamescom was the first massive super event that I ever went to last year, and it completely blew my mind.
The thing is, like you mentioned that, I prepped, and I say prepped, I have photos saved on my phone, which means I prepped on the toilet. By the way, never touch my phone because you don't want to know where it's been. A couple of things. So we've mentioned him quite a few times in articles. He gets referenced all the time, but Daniel Ahmed, or ZHugeX on Twitter, tweeted something in September last year, which there's been it's quite funny. One of the best things we should probably do. What's that fan denial or something that Paddy Power or someone does, like
yeah, the crying thing.
Yeah. So we should do like a fanboy denial where we get like Xbox fanboys or iPhone fanboys or PlayStation fanboys or Samsung fanboys, whatever. Where you just get people that whinge about their own brand, and it's like, look, you can have an Xbox and a PlayStation and like both. You don't have to choose one. Anyway, before I get onto the fanboy denial stuff, Daniel Ahmed says biggest gaming exhibitions / trade shows by number of entries. So everyone's going E3. It's like Christmas in June. And don't get me wrong, absolutely. I'm in the industry as someone that's entered the industry as a fan. I'm not purely a professional. I'm sat here in a Twitch t-shirt, for God's sake. Clearly I'm not purely a professional, but I watched E3. I would stay up and watch the PlayStation conference because I was a fan of the industry, and I was outside the industry, but I still watched it anyway. I had my own little crappy fan blog site thing, which my mate Callum, who's probably not watching, but hi Callum, would write news articles for, and we stayed up and we live tweeted them and things like that. So I mean, I've come at it from a fan, so love the idea of E3. The fact that E3 is dissolving is a bit disappointing for me as a fan, but it's natural. Things don't last forever, especially if it's run as poorly as E3 is from my perspective. But people saying that E3 is the biggest thing in the world, and there is a lot. I'm saying people. It's not unanimous, but there is a large number of people that say that Sony are turning their back on the ESA, which is the organisation behind E3, and E3 and the games industry in general, by looking to do their own things. And I'm thinking, the ESA charge an absolute fortune. I have been involved in booking event spaces at E3, at Gamescom, at EGX in the UK, MCMs. We've done event management. Myself and Bibby have manned events at these shows. We've been there. We've done it all. So we know how expensive it is. But E3 in particular is hugely expensive. So, and you've got a company like EA who know how to make money. Too well, so that it kills the games in some instances, but they know how to make money. They're not going to go, okay, well, I'll pay a stupid extortionate rate to be in this one convention centre, or I can just get my own building in EA and host EA Play and have Dr. Disrespect turn up at that. I mean, it's not going to go into the toilets, mind. But, so they're thinking, well, why am I going to pay those extortionate rates for that when I can do my own stuff? So EA have done that. Nintendo have gone, well, I'm not going to pay those extortionate rates. I'm going to do a direct. I mean, I'll still have the floor space, but I'm not going to pay for the conference space and things like that. But the biggest thing, which I didn't realise it was such a big difference, E3 2019. So this is back to Daniel Ahmed's tweet from September, where he ranks trade shows by number of entries in terms of physical people at the show. E3 2019 had 66,000 people attend it. 66,000, that's a lot of people. Gamescom 2019, 373,000 people. So that's like 310,000 people. It's not, it's a bit different, but 310,000 people more. So times that 66 by 6 kind of thing, 5, whatever. 6, no, it's 6. So yeah,
well, Europe is a lot more accessible for Europeans, because even though it's in Germany, it's what, a 2.5 hour flight max. Whereas people in America, if they're going to LA, it could be a 7 or 8 hour flight. Then you've got obviously pay for the flights, pay for your accommodation and things like that. For us, it's not. You could drive to Germany in a day if you needed to. If that was the way that you wanted to get there, you could easily do that, no problems. But it's Gamescom again. I'm kind of saying this with Roasting Classic. It was the first big one that I've ever been to. So going around the kiosks, being able to speak to community managers, being able to play their games regardless of whether or not it's coming out soon. It could be a demo for a game that's coming out in a year's time or
Getting
something.
behind the scenes with Daymare.
Exactly, that's what I mean. That was like one of the best experiences I've ever had. Being able to meet those developers playing their game, nailing the time, best time of the day and stuff like that. But yeah, it's Gamescom looks such a bigger. Not to say a bigger. It's E3's been around a hell of a lot longer than Gamescom, hasn't it?
Yes, E3 started in about, I think it was 95, and the sad thing from like fanboys of the games industry in general, PlayStation were there, and E3 played a big part in Sony launching their first consoles and Microsoft's first consoles and that developing, and then E3 played a big part in the downfall, not so much the downfall, but the revival for PlayStation. So the PS3 sort of generation wasn't the greatest for Sony. So they're kind of not guerrilla marketing, but they're edgy marketing. Trying to hold my hand there,
definitely.
So that Shuhei Yoshida video where it's like, how do you share a PlayStation on PlayStation? How do you share a game on PlayStation? Here you go. Thanks. And that sort of like Xbox pitching their product wrong, Sony taking the piss and pitching their product right, and so there's so many good memories for E3. But like that comment that Daniel Ahmed shared saying Gamescom 2019 373,000, the fact that E3 is dying isn't so much I think it shows you that it's not so much Sony and it's not so much E3, EA should I say, and it's not so much Xbox that are all figuring out ways to do stuff around it. Sony have just gone, why am I trying so hard when I've got 66,000 people? And I read an article last night as well saying that Sony and EA want E3 to be more of a celebration of games, and it mentions it in that article in a similar sort of thing about they want it to be ways to there we go PlayStation 5, where we're truly looking forward to a year of celebration with our fans. They want fan celebrations, whereas other members of the ESA want it to be kind of like media focused, which is fine, but you only get 66,000 people when you have it media focused. But then you go up that list. G-Star Korea 2018 had 235,000 people. Tokyo Game Show, TGS, which I'd really like to go to, 2019 had 262,000 people. Paris Games Week, 316,000 people. Taipei Game Show, 320,000 people. Brazil Game Show, 325,000 people. China Joy, 365, and then top of the list, Gamescom, 373. 68,000 people, 300,000 people.
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, you can fully understand why Sony are going, okay, you're limiting me here and you're overcharging me as well. So not only am I getting 1/6 of what I would get at Gamescom, but I'm paying extortionate prices because it is E3. And
you've got to adhere to their guidelines, their terms and conditions of what it is that they can't say. You've got a designated time slot that I imagine may not be suitable for every single market that they want to hit. So PlayStation having PSX where they can literally run the show themselves, right, we're going to have a 3-day celebration or whatever, we're going to have game exclusives, this is going to be the anniversary of the PlayStation 2 or whatever it might be, we're going to have a full-on celebration there, and then we're going to have a massive party on day 3. They can literally post and host whatever they want for probably a fraction of the cost than it'd have for E3.
Absolutely. Because and the thing there, though, as well, is when you exhibit at E3, you pay your costs. So I want to be at your show. I'm going to pay you to be there. When Sony have their show, the shoe's got to be on the other foot. If Sony do the PSX, have a PlayStation experience, and they have the fan central experience, they can go, okay, we're hosting an event. We are making sure that all the messages hit what we want. So our marketing beats are not being hit on our one show, and then Xbox are doing their thing as a competitor next to it. Everything is pro PlayStation here, and then they're probably going to go, okay. Well, the only game we know is Godfall, so I can't really do it. Let's use.
Assassin's Creed's going to be likely one of these games that are going to pop off as a launch, so we'll use that one as well. Which,
do we have that on there? So Assassin's Creed, we don't actually have it on the list. Assassin's Creed Ragnarok has just been leaked, the new game. So let's say Assassin's Creed, the leak says that it's going to be at the Sony's announcement in February. So they can go, okay, we're going to have a PlayStation experience, and it's going to be a fan event. There's probably going to be 100 to 200,000 people there. We can guarantee you a good spot on our show broadcast, and we will give you access to the 100,000 people that are attending, and we will also include you on the PlayStation Store when you come out. If you exhibit at this event, it's going to cost you, I don't know what. Let's just say 100,000. We'll sit with round numbers. They can cost a lot more or a lot less depending on the events. So it'll cost you 100 grand to be at PSX Ubisoft. Within that, you'll get 50 consoles. You get access to 100,000 people. You'll get an hour on the stream dedicated to Ubisoft. You will get pre-roll advertising all the way through the stream, and you will get store placement for pre-orders and stuff as well. That for Sony means income.
Yeah.
Plus, they control the messaging, and regardless of whether it's a new Tomb Raider game or an Assassin's Creed game or Godfall or a Gran Turismo or PUBG 7 or whatever game it is, it's PlayStation. It's PlayStation. Whereas if you have E3, you have PlayStation's conference where they get their first party stuff in, but then you have a Ubisoft conference where they talk about Assassin's Creed, but might not mention any format, or they might go, actually, there's a bundle exclusive to Xbox or whatever. So E3 in that sense, there's no real benefit for a company to, because when you've got such a small amount of numbers, like Sony's saying, okay, well, that 66,000 people is a lot of people, and yes, there is a lot more that comes from world media, but you get that so many times. The Game Awards, how many different countries did we? I mean, I can't remember the numbers now, but previous to Christmas, obviously, Game Awards
it was like
took
56 countries or something. Broadcast to, wasn't it?
Immense. So Sony's like going, okay, well, we can get 66,000 people plus world coverage on one beat, but we can spread that money across Tokyo Game Show, across Paris Games Week, across Gamescom, across EGX, across, do you know what, we'll do 3 PSXs in the year and whatever, and that'll be obviously more than that, but a good chunk of that cost we can recoup back as well. So it makes absolute sense. And And if they do that, they don't have to worry about the ESA leaking all their details.
Well, yeah, the way I was thinking about it as well is we've done events where we would like to have 1 to 2, maybe 3 weeks build up to an event. Say PES League last year, we'd like to be able to take it. It was a point in the calendar where nothing else was going to go around it. I.e., Pro Evolution Soccer, when we was doing the World Finals, we had like 2 weeks of build up to that. We got all the nice little impressions. We got a nice little figure on it on top of that. If for whatever reason Sony wanted to do E3, all of their marketing messages, all of their social stuff is just going to be diluted by Xbox, by Stadia, by PC, by Epic Games and stuff like that. So
someone clip that, please. If you're in the chat, someone clip that.
So all of their marketing messages getting mixed up with the fanboys of each thing, and then people saying, "Oh, well, I'm not looking forward to a new Tomb Raider. I'm looking forward to." I don't fucking know, Monster Hunter or whatever it could be. So if they are carving their own time out, say in October time, they've got 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever they want to do, of just Sony stuff. Stuff that they want to push. They can say, right, like you say, Ubisoft are going to come on for an hour. They're going to show off all their games. All the hype around Twitter, around the games industry, is just going to be about that one event, rather than it getting watered down by the fanboyism of another console or another game series or something like that. Their whole focus, whether or not they're broadcasting it live or people going to the events to try the games out to celebrate PlayStation as itself. Why wouldn't they want to do that rather than being stuck in a room for potentially 3 or 4 hours, having a small part of the showroom floor, and then not being able to have as many people as they want to come in without having to pay a shitload of money to be able to get in and do it?
And that's the thing as well. Like, you have to win E3 in that essence. By that, everyone talks about who wins E3. So you go into a competition. When it's your show, you're not in competition at all. You've got no pressure in that sort of sense of outdoing the competition. You can just make it all about yourself. I mean, people will still make those comparisons and stuff anyway. Yeah, but there was 46 floppy flops and terrors and terror floppy flops.
I'd much rather have throughout the year. Like Gamescom needs to stay purely because, again, I've said it 3 or 4 times that I've said this. It was my first one, and not only that, it was the first opportunity I got to play a lot of games. I got to meet people, whether or not that's in the position that I am or just loud enough to go, yeah, mate, what's your name? My name's X. Let's go and play some games or whatever.
Well, we need to get this changed because it doesn't say X there.
But yeah, let's go and play some games or whatever. So yeah, I'd rather have Xbox have their own. I'd rather PlayStation have their own. Nintendo don't really do that. They just have the Directs. I'd rather, again, Stadia. There's no point. So having all of those little things throughout the year where you're going to get...
Stop it, it's already dead!
Where you're going to get like a month's build up and then all the content that comes around it, and then we get a nice little month worth of clickbaity stuff that we can put as titles for our podcast and things like that. As a consumer, that works, and I'd much rather have that and then have 1 or 2 big conferences throughout the year where it is a celebration of games, not somewhere where they're going to start unleashing their main product line and things like that. Leave the conferences to your own designated consoles and then build around that.
See, I agree with that from a professional standpoint. From a consumer standpoint, as in my own personal opinion, forgetting the fact that I'm industry and forgetting the fact that I know knowledge, would love E3 to just be this big thing that happens in June in the middle of the summer, and it all looks glam and glitz, and you get all the lights and sounds, and it's in LA, and it's wow, it's wonderful. I mean, it actually isn't as nice as that. I mean, as you'll have seen at Gamescom, it's actually awkward as fuck, sweaty as fuck. The shitloads of people went. So, but for me, forgetting the industry side of it that I know, for me as someone that sits there at home, on my own, in my bedroom, on my TV, watching this conference, going, yeah, games, because we all do that in our own. You might not be full on, yeah, friend, kind of sort of way. You might have you might watch it with your family, you might watch it with your mates. However you watch it, we all have that kind of thing, and I love that about E3. I would like to keep that, but things have to change for the better. And if E3. If this just means that E3 and the ESA go, actually, do you know what? We probably need to stop rinsing everyone and, do something a bit more creative about it, then fair enough. If Sony, they aren't starting a trend, they are the next step in the rock. Yeah. That's essentially it. The trend has been happening for a long, long time. So, yeah, do you know what? Fair play to them for moving away again. I genuinely thought they were going this year. with obviously PS5 that sort of year, but clearly they've gone, okay, we weren't there last year, and we are still the biggest selling console. We are still outselling the competition. Why are we going again?
As a quote unquote PlayStation fanboy, and I'm not saying that just because because that's all I've literally only got a PlayStation because I can't afford a fucking Xbox One, so it's that's the only console I have access to, barring obviously my Switch. But they don't need to. Like, PlayStation can just do whatever they want, and again, that's not me hating on Xbox, because again, I've said it 1,000,001 times. The fact that Game Pass has come out swinging and helped Xbox kind of put that momentum back on their side. For the time being, at least. They've got a lot of catching up to do, but they just want to do it. I just much prefer these manufacturers or these companies just to do their own thing, rather than conform to just saying, right, we have to go to E3 this year. Why? Because everybody else is. Just put your own media message out there, and eventually people are going to start backing you.
The one thing I will say about E3 in that sort of sense, though, is it does help get the message through to laymen and women. Does
in layman terms?
Yeah, but like in layman terms. But I'm going to say, does the word layman, does that include women? I don't actually know that. I don't know if because layman is laymen and women.
I just thought it was a term for give me the simplest answer.
Well, in layman is like speaking to lay people, a lay person.
Oh, right. I literally just thought it was a figure of speech of you're talking shit. Just give me the simplest way.
Give me the lamest way.
Yeah, give me the top line. Give me what you're saying. Don't go around the houses.
Anyway, I can't remember what I was getting at then. Oh yeah, so it's good at getting the message through to the mainstream. Let's use that one then. So that when you're not,
is E3 for those though? E3 for those
but
people?
It isn't. But it is at the same time. So E3 is for the industry and passing the news out, but the amount of buzz that you get around that from BBC will cover it, ITV will cover it, it'll be on Sky Sports as well, Sky News kind of thing, and that then starts to push the message through, so people start to pick up the right messages, which is good for the games industry, because when you don't have that much buzz, you will get... I mean, how many of you in the chat? If you're in the chat, good morning, by the way, and thank you very much for Seth for the host. I've just noticed that in the chat. Thank you very much for the host. And also, Fatman Dave says, even the pros have got to go to the toilet for a prep. I'm guessing that's the Dr. Disrespect comment. Also, Kinslayer, thank you very much for the follow. 18 minutes ago, much appreciated. Didn't get around to that.
It's been a long conversation, hasn't it?
But E3 helps to get the message through. How many of you in the chat have had someone say, have you seen the new PS5? It looks well weird. Even though it's not the new PS5, it was a dev kit, but because there wasn't that groundswell around it, the facts haven't been pushed through.
Well, I'm going to flip a coin and go the other side of that. How do we know that the person that's written those articles saying, have you seen the new PS5, is just someone who's in an office because the main person that covers video games might not be in, they might not have that person anymore, and they're just seeing on some random website somewhere a thing that looks like a PS5, and they're saying that this is the new PS5. Like, I've quote tweeted about 1,000,001 sources on Twitter that have said, look, let's look at the new PS5, and it's literally a dev kit. Now, that person who's tweeting that out clearly doesn't either know video games or hasn't done the research to say this is the dev kit. So every man and his dog looks at E3 as a place to find all their information, but that's based off somebody else's.
Yeah, the thing is, though, when you get an E3, because of the groundswell, you will find that there's more places to get that. Yeah. So that one guy that covers games that might tell you, actually, mate, that's a dev kit.
Yeah,
he might not be in, but it'll also be on BBC News at 6 o'clock when you're driving home after work, kind of thing, and say, oh, there's a dev kit. People keep saying this, and you'll get their tech guy. Usually, what's the Welsh guy on BBC? Anyway, I don't know. I'm talking Radio 1. I've seen it on Twitter a lot.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Exactly.
I'm not taking the piss out of those people, because there is people who don't play consoles hardcore. They'll just 110% a casual gamer. They've got one, they'll play 3 or 4 games a year because it's a franchise that they'll like. They might have someone who's Star Wars, a big Star Wars fan, so they get Battlefront. They might get Call of Duty, and they might get a FIFA game. So for those people, they have absolutely no idea. If they're not in the world and they're just looking at a glance on Twitter and they've seen it, they go, oh shit, that's an ugly console, without knowing everything that goes around it. And again, I'm not taking the piss out of those people, but it's the likes of the BBC that may push the agenda, like, this is the new PS5, and it's like, well, clearly you haven't. This is just lazy journalism. You've just seen it on Reddit somewhere. You pulled it and you've written about it.
That's what E3 is good for, though. In that sense, in terms of, like, at the moment, we've not had an E3. We've had stories about the PS5 dev kit, and people are now going, "Oh, I've seen it. It looks well weird. It looks like something from Star Trek."
Yeah.
Whereas when you get an E3, yeah, exactly, sticky slice in the middle. But when you get to E3, you don't get as much of that because you get good reporting on it. You get it's not just hearsay and I heard a rumour and saw something on a forum, and there was a picture posted on a really reliable Facebook page called Gaming Memes. So I know exactly what it looks like, but E3 you get a bit more. So I mean, I love the idea of E3 from old school nerd growing up sort of angle, and everything that can give you in that media cut through. But yeah, from a professional angle, you get more bang from your buck if you're being Sony. The only thing is you don't get that global cut through by doing it that way. Having Xbox and having Sony and having Nintendo and having E3, EA should I say, and having Ubisoft and all the rest of them in one city on 1 week of the year will make the whole world stand up and take notice. And arguably that has helped, because if you look at old E3 videos, go look at a 2005 and earlier E3 video, and it won't be auditoriums, it won't be huge stage shows, it will be like you are going to a accounting conference. There will be rows of wooden chairs. It just like one OHP screen there in the background, literally. And it was only because someone thought, okay, we need to start making cut throughs. So you get PowerPoints with videos and sounds, and the lights come down. You get audio bits, and then you get special guests, and someone gets a bit of a bigger stage next time. And it's that literally keeping up with the Joneses, one-upmanship, my dick is bigger than yours sort of mentality of, I want to outcompete. And that's what's led to, pow, Staples Center, owned by Microsoft. But that whole thing is what's kind of pushed gaming into the or helped push gaming into the mainstream. It's not entirely, obviously, the fact that we all like to play games is what puts it into the mainstream. But yeah, so that being weakened and having different things all over the place and stuff, you kind of think, okay, gamers as a collective bunch pulling together will make sure that the world stands up and takes notice and appreciates gaming for it is, and you're not just all these losers that play games all the time.
But yeah, I agree. I think at some point E3 is just going to be a completely different beast than it is now, and I can't see it being any longer than 5 years that it's going to change its ways.
Yeah, I would give it a couple at best, maybe. I mean, we could be wrong. Anything could happen, really. Exactly, but I would see so many big brands have pulled away. Out of the big three, only one of them is going to be there, but next to it. So Nintendo, they've not been there for a while. Sony aren't going, and Xbox have committed have pledged their commitment to E3 and
through the window as they're looking at the event over the road. Take a selfie outside, and that's about as close as we're getting. But
one thing I did want to touch on, because we're obviously 45 minutes into this story, pretty much. I did mention the fan denial, and when it comes to gaming, fanboy denial. When I was doing my little bit of research on E3 and what the content around it is. I mean, I've never watched this person's YouTube channel. He or she has quite a lot of subs, so could be good content creators. However, the bio of this person says, gamer, Xbox-centric YouTuber. So naturally, if PlayStation pulls out of E3, you can tell what the fanboy denial. Sony officially skipping E3 2020. What's the best damage control you've heard today? Do you know, actually, I'll send you this link so we can...
go through it together.
Yeah.
What are you sending it me on?
I'll slack it at you, mate.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
But yeah, we'll just quickly flick through the responses on this thread, and it's essentially to summarise it for you. It's an Xbox-centric YouTuber, and naturally, as a logical, intelligent content creator, he's playing towards his audience. That's what you do as any form of entertainment. You play towards your audience and you give them what they want. He's giving them an opportunity to bash PlayStation for pulling out of E3. So PlayStation are pulling out, doing what's right for their brand, and obviously his thread kind of lets Xbox guys have a go at it from the other perspective. So let's go... bring this up. So, Sony officially skipping E3 2020. What's the best damage control you've heard today? Post it below. I
can zoom in.
So, E3 is dying. Sony doesn't need E3. Sony can do E3 with one tweet. E3 is not invited to the PS5 hype train. It's just, but there was one of you. Got to keep scrolling. That one. Sony decides E3 is not invited onto the PS5 hype train. Like, so clearly, that's the other side of the coin. That's a PS5 fan account. Like, they've written a news article, so the Xbox now fan accounts have gone, oh, well, we're going to have one. So, ding ding, front runner. We absolutely 100% need to make a mini series of fanboy denial where we just go like get that sort of like deep. Sony decides. It's irrelevant without Sony there. Cry laughing emoji, cry laughing emoji, cry laughing emoji. OMG. These fools are sad AF.
E3 was finished in 2018. This is mental.
I love reading stuff like this because obviously I have an Xbox. I have a PlayStation. I would class myself as more of a PlayStation player.
I love this gift.
Yeah, this is fine. That always reminds me of David Moyes when I sat in the United office. But yes, feel free, if you guys want some fun, go search for E3. There we go, that one. Yeah. The SpongeBob. No one showed up last year. If you want some fun, go check out Fanboy Gaming Twitter. It's a good way to waste. You fall down a rabbit hole and it just starts to get like more and more bizarre as you go further into it. Do you know what, guys? There's more than one console, and they're all really good. They all have games and things. Play whichever one you like. The fact that one's not being there is kind of not really meaning anything. But anyway, that's enough of Sony being at E3, or not, as the case actually is. Let's jump forward, as I'm going to reject all of your advertising cookies on this website so I can see the news that I'm trying to talk about. As we jump in to the next news article, and from PlayStation we go to Xbox. So Xbox Series X will be able to play Steam games.
I thought we was going to talk about Timberland shows off 130 weight loss after kicking drug addiction.
Good lad, Timberland.
what am I doing wrong here? Oh,
dismembered God. Human. Okay. Wow, this is.
Can we move the pit to that side, please?
Sorry, guys, it's fine. Nothing to see here. So, Xbox Series X will be able to play Steam games, Rumour claims. And if that rumour is true, that is a potential behemoth.
Pendulum swinging again.
Yeah. So, obviously, I'm just saying, not a fan by either way. I'm probably more in the PlayStation camp, purely because of who I play with in their formats. But, yeah, I have both. But that is huge. I mean, not so much for me, because I have a PC. I'm going to play PlayStation games and I'm going to play Xbox games. And I'm going to play, if I'm going to play PC games, I'm probably going to play them on PC.
Well, my discussion with Mark about this yesterday was, when he sent it me originally, I thought it was just going to be another Steam link. So if you've got your PC in the house, you'll be able to broadcast the game from your PC to your Xbox. But apparently this is all integrated, so you're going to have a market stall in there and you can play the game natively rather than through a wide connection in your house or whatever.
That is class. Go on then. Jump involved, babe. Give us this article.
There we go. Okay, so
go on, babe. Read the article, babe. Go on.
Lad Bible by Ewan Moore.
I just want to shout. I think this is the first time we've ever featured a Lad Bible piece of content. So well done, Lad Bible. For you, I mean, you guys have worked hard. You have finally made it onto the scoop. Give yourselves a pat on the back, GG.
So Microsoft has already given us a first look at the Xbox Series X, as well as a rundown of some of the machine's most exciting new features. However, if a recent rumour is to be believed, the upcoming next-gen hardware still has a few surprises in store for us. According to a new report from the alleged insiders in the Xbox community, the Xbox Series X may support Steam and the Epic Games Store. The rumour currently doing the rounds essentially suggesting that the new console will have a Windows mode that allows you to switch between the machine's operating system to Windows 10.
But not Windows 7.
No, because that died today. RIP. From there, you can simply access your Steam and Epic Games Store libraries. Probably don't need to tell you that this will be basically unlock an entirely new and massive library of games that you otherwise wouldn't have access to on the Xbox.
That is incredible. So, I was going to talk about how cheap games are on Steam compared to console, but I'll do that.
Put a pin in it. We're back in a sec. This is, as I say, simply a rumour at this stage. Do take it with the usual pinch of salt, as required for such things. That said, it's certainly far from the craziest rumour that I've heard. It's no secret that Microsoft has really been working towards a unified and accessible gaming future, one where the games you play really aren't defined by the hardware that you own. Just look at the steps the company made during the Xbox One era. A massive push for backwards compatibility meant that Xbox and 360 games were available on the Xbox One. No, please note that when I say Xbox, I mean the original one from 2001 and Xbox 360 games.
It's not confusing at all.
It's so dumb, innit? Just name them appropriately. Do you know why they did that, by the way?
Why they did what?
So that when the Xbox 360 came out, they didn't call it the Xbox 2.
Why?
Because they would have been on the PlayStation 3 by then. They didn't want to seem like there was a number behind.
Oh, really?
That's literally the reason why they called it something different.
God damn it.
We also know that from day one, the Xbox Series X will support every generation of Xbox title. Woo-wee. Microsoft has made major strides in cross-play, supporting the ability to play games like Fortnite and Minecraft with mates on PC, Switch, and eventually the PS4. Then there's a launch of Xbox Game Pass on the PC, the former exclusives like Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest. With all that in mind, the idea of a new Xbox supporting Steam and Epic Games Store really doesn't seem that far-fetched, does it? Whether it turns out to be true, we'll just have to wait and see. The Xbox Series X is set to arrive during the holiday period this year, presumably before Christmas. While we recently heard that the Xbox Series X probably won't have exclusive games for at least the first year of its release, the idea of having a machine that can play every generation of Xbox title, plus Steam and Epic Games stores, is certainly a very attractive one.
Interesting. One thing to mention there, though, because where was the comment? So then there's the launch of the Xbox Game Pass on PC and former exclusive like Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest. With all of that in mind, the idea of the new Xbox supporting Steam and Epic Games Store doesn't really seem that far-fetched, does it? Completely different thing. So I would say it's kind of touching on some good stuff there in terms of Microsoft to push through. So we spoke about it yesterday. We were talking about lack of exclusives, but the fact that they are embracing the mantra that PlayStation has been for the players, that cross-play stuff, and that's fine. However, what that does is it gives you access to more users. It doesn't necessarily give you access to different games. So I've got an Xbox. Doesn't mean that I'm going to go buy a game on Steam because I've got an Xbox. I'm not. Oh, you've got a Switch and I've got a PlayStation. Well, let's just say Xbox and I've got an Xbox and we can play Fortnite. Nice. Okay. Well, I'm not going to download it on my Switch to play it on my Xbox. I'm not gonna. So yeah, there is a difference there in terms of opening up users and making consoles have cross-format and that compatibility and stuff is all really well and good, because you are just giving your players more access to more short queue times and a bigger player base. It doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't. Yeah, you're not taking money out of your own pocket by doing that.
Does this mean then? So, I think we've talked about this before. I've got the Steam Link already in my house, and when I'm playing games, I have to use my Xbox 360 controller to be able to obviously get all the functionality. But using the Xbox, my Xbox 360 controller is probably the worst way to be able to play the games, because a lot of games require keyboard and mouse, which is obviously why it's on PC in the first place. So games like Disco Elysium that were a PC exclusive, now that I'm able to potentially import my Steam games into my Xbox Series 1X, am I going to be able to play that? Do I need to plug a keyboard and mouse in to be able to play that? Is that game going to be visible in the back end for me, or is it games that are going to be solely Xbox controller compatible that I'm going to have access to? Like, I don't know, Pro Evo, you can play that with. I don't think you can play it with keyboard and mouse, but you can play it on your PC with a controller if you wanted to.
I think you can play keyboard and mouse, but Pro Evo specifically talking about. But the idea of playing a football game with keyboard and mouse just absolutely blows my mind.
Well, then again, you'd be back down to the 8-axis, wouldn't you, where you're running in triangles?
Oh yeah,
and diagonals.
Unless you were mouse.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's there's little caveats like that make me think: is it possible? Like, am I going to be able to log into my Steam account via Xbox Live to be able to play all of my collection already? Because I've got a pretty stacked Steam collection and a pretty good Epic Store collection, considering they're giving out free games twice a week. So there's little small things like that I think maybe this is just a little bit of bullshit. But the little hope in my mind makes me think that this could be the game changer for Xbox. They've opened up Game Pass to everyone. You can play it on your PC, you can play it on your Xbox, providing obviously that you have one. With the game titles that are available on there is absolutely amazing. But like you touched on before, the games that are available on PC are usually about £20 cheaper on the Steam store than they actually are on the Xbox store.
Imagine not a first-party game. Let's say Red Dead. Although that's kind of a shit example because it came out later and still is holding its price. But let's say Red Dead came out at the same time. Good morning, says
Morning, pal.
Imagine Red Dead came out launch day September 1st on PS5, Xbox Series X and PC, and it was 60 quid PlayStation, 60 quid Xbox, 60 quid PC. PC by the end of the week dropped down to 50 quid, and then by 3 weeks later it's dropped down to 30 quid, or there's a humble bundle kind of some sort of sale-y thing, or you've just got a G2A code or some dodgy code site or whatever. But it's still 60 quid on the Xbox. If you've paid 30 quid and got it on the PC and you can access your Steam library, it'd be interesting to see if this is real, whether you can go, if they go, actually, that game exists on Xbox, so that's blacklisted, so you can't play that one, you have to play the Xbox one.
Also, that brings us to the fact that on every single Xbox game to play online, you need to have Xbox Live. On Steam, you don't have to have anything. If you want to play a game, a multiplayer game on Steam, you just buy the game and you have access to it. Do you have to have Xbox Live to be able to access that part of it?
I imagine just from stuff that's happened in the past, and this may have changed because I haven't touched on it forever, but I remember something, it was either the BBC iPlayer app or a Netflix app or something like that. One of them needed you to have Xbox Live to be able to use the functions, to just use something that is you're paying for it already. So yeah, I think
again, just on the basis of you having to pay for that, if you're playing the PC version, does that mean that you're going to be only playing against other PC people, or are you going to have then the Xbox crossover with the PC community?
There's all sorts of like things to dissect.
It's a big task.
I'd imagine if you were playing a PC game on your Xbox, you would still need your Xbox Live membership, because even though you've paid for the game on Steam where it's free to play, you are using Xbox's live service, the servers costs. So you're essentially paying for access to that, and that's what that cost pays for. It pays for the server access, pays for all the rest. So because you're using that, even though you paid for the game, I'd imagine, well, you need the live thing because you're using it. Makes sense when you break it down like that. But yeah, you're paying to play a game that's free for other people to play online. Not free to buy the game, but free for them to play online. And they've got an advantage because they're sat there with a fucking 97 gigabyte RAM PC or whatever, and you're there with your little. I said little. I'm already undermining a console that's not even here yet.
Well, what I'm thinking is as well. Again, there's just so many, a million and one things that come with this kind of article. A high-end PC, you're looking at $1,000 plus to be able to play top specs, absolutely everything.
Yeah.
This is apparently going to be able to compete with that for half of the price, we'll say. If it comes in at £500, if for whatever reason Xbox just decided that they, like the PlayStation, as far as I can remember, they sold the PlayStation on a loss. They was losing money when they were selling those consoles because of how much it cost to put them out there. But they knew full well that their games were going to sell more, so they've made more on software than they have on the hardware, which is a good game plan for them because it's clearly worked. Is this going to be the same with the Xbox, where they potentially think that maybe we're not going to get as much software stuff, so we're going to try and get as much as we can for the Xbox, because getting an Xbox is half the price than getting a top-end PC, where they can still play the Steam collection, their Epic collection, and all of these premium Xbox games via Game Pass if they wanted to, and then just stop selling physical games? Because they could easily make so much more money by saying, okay, Steam, you give us a stupid amount of money to host all of your games on the Xbox. You can play all of your games natively via this device, so people don't have to access your Steam collection via a PC. That's going to cost them twice as much. You give us a shitload of money, we'll host your games on our platform, they can have access to it, we'll split the profits, we can sell so much more software because people are going to have an Xbox in the house rather than a PC.
The only thing with that kind of for me is look at how the PC ecosystem is now, and look at where it was at the end of the PS3. There's not only is there a shitload more users, but the technology has just gone ridiculous in terms of what you could do on a PC back then versus what you can do now. The amount of floppy terrors that you've got and all that kind of thing. So if you invest in a console, you're investing for 7 years of gameplay. A PC won't last you for 7 years. In 7 years' time, it will have been superseded probably 7 times. Yeah. So if you invest in an Xbox now to play your PC collection, there's going to be there's going to be faster processors, GPUs. GPU's a power unit, but all of the bits that you would upgrade in a PC will be upgraded. Everyone will upgrade even more. So because they're upgrading, what you can do in games will upgrade, and then you'll get to the point where you'll get the master race again. What tends to happen, although PC players will probably disagree, is you'll get the PC sets the bar, console goes in front. By the end of the generation, the PC's like, okay, but then console takes a massive leap back in front, and the PC gets ahead, and it kind of goes like that in a cyclical exchange. Whereas if that's the case, are we going to be playing? I mean, it sounds amazing now, but 60 FPS, I don't know, 120 FPS, whatever. Are we going to be playing 120 FPS and chugging? Whereas PC players are like 10 bajillion FPS. Oh, check you out on your.
Don't forget, by the end of the life cycle of a console, the games are so much more advanced than there was at the start of the console generation. Like over 7 years, you pick a first game that came out on the PS4, and then potentially the last game that's ever going to come out on PS4. Then the generation, even like the revised version of The Last of Us from PS3 onto the remastered version on the PS4, have a look at that compared to what's going to be happening at the end of the life cycle. The graphics, the performance, everything is so much better.
And something like The Last of Us, you would happily play now because it's good. And it will be good, and it'll be good for a long, long time to come. But yeah, put The Last of Us next to The Last of Us 2. You look at Joel and Ellie's face on The Last of Us, and you watch the trailers that we've seen for The Last of Us 2, and it's night and day. The amount of like technological advance in just providing I mean, everyone always keeps mentioning ray tracing and things like that. Obviously, ray tracing will be in the new games, not so much these, but you can tell that those advancements in technology and lighting and all that stuff has progressed things further. But if you start playing PC games on your Xbox now, you'll be like, yeah, by the end of the generation, you're like, well, I can't take out. I mean, it's been mentioned that there's an AMD processor. AMD are going to keep making processors. They're not going to go, okay, well, we're going to hold it now because we're friends with Microsoft and they're using our stuff and we can't really outdo that. They're going to be like, yeah, but we still sell shitloads for PCs, so we're going to keep boom, boom, boom.
But the prime example is what you've got with PUBG on the Xbox compared to PUBG on the PC. Like, it's just derp. The base Xbox doesn't load in correctly until a couple of seconds once you've dropped.
And let's use PlayStation is probably the better example in terms of the gap. You're limited to 30 FPS on PlayStation, and I think PUBG's 30 FPS across the board. I know some games are 60 FPS on Xbox One X, but I don't think PUBG is. So yeah, okay, fine, yeah. PUBG 30 FPS. Things don't load in very well. You've not got the ultra high textures. The rendering range. You can get an 8x sniper rifle on PUBG, which is meant to show you across the map, and you can look at buildings and they will just still be plasticine. It's like, well, why can I look so far if I can't see it?
There's so many more. There's so much more information. I mean, this is only a rumour at this stage, but there's a lot more questions that need to be answered. Like, obviously, we're not super techie people. We have absolutely no idea about coding and what goes into these.
I've said the word floppy terrors twice.
And ray tracing. Sorry, So it's over here.
Meat. And I said GPU as some sort of like processing thing, which is essentially a power unit. But it is. Is it general processing? Oh, whatever. All right. That's a PSU. That's a power supply. Oh, GPU is good. It's a general processing. Anyway, PSU is the power. Anyway. I think out of all, we talk a lot of rumours on here. Obviously, it's a news show. We talk about the scoop of everything that's happening and being spoken about in the games industry. And this is something that has been spoken about. I think out of all of the rumours that we've spoken about, unless we see something concrete from Microsoft themselves, I'm going to take this as a little bit too far. Yeah. I mean, happy to be wrong, more than happy to be wrong. Being able to play my Steam games on the comfort of my couch and stuff like that, I'm happy to take that. I mean, I can play them in the comfort of my man cave, but having that on the couch, I'd be happy enough to see that. But anyway, let's move forward, seeing as we're over an hour into the scoop. Let's start wrapping things up at this end, because we've got a couple of bits to go on after this, which might take my fancy. But for now, jump into a new one. So Lad B Blaze has been featured on the scoop for the first time. Good effort for Lad Bible making it, as has the Dark Side of Gaming. And this is a news article written by John PAPADOPOULOS, who says, here are what the Metal Gear Solid 2 remake, Metal Gear Solid remake and Metal Gear Solid 2 remake could look like in Unreal Engine 4 and Unity. In August 2019, we shared a clip from the bridge intro of Metal Gear Solid 2 in Unreal Engine 4, and thankfully its creator, Erasmus Brosdow, has been working on expanding on that clip. And a few days ago, Erasmus shared the first screenshots from the new 3D model for Solid Snake. My guess is that Erasmus will remake the entire bridge sequence in Unreal Engine 4. Moreover, he will be taking advantage of real-time ray tracing, which Graham Day has just said on Ice Cream Up that milk. Anyway, so yes, even though Konami does not plan to release any remake of this classic MGS game, this fan remake will give us an idea of what such a remake could look like. Furthermore, Maxime Thomas Ledior has recreated... I should have given you this article to read. Furthermore, Maxime Thomas Ledior has recreated the hallway sequence from the first Metal Gear Solid game in Unity Engine. Do note that this video features different 3D assets from the aforementioned MGS2 Unreal Engine 4 remake. As such, the Solid Snake 3D character model will be different. So we'll hit play on that. Do you want muted? Muted. Speaking of the first Metal Gear Solid game, Erasmus had also recreated its intro in Unreal Engine 4 back in 2018. Now keep in mind that Maxime has made all the characters in 3D, rigged and animated them. He has also edited the video with sound. As such, don't expect it to be perfect. For instance, there are some minor animation issues. Also, some of you may not like the new 3D model for Solid Snake. Still, we believe that these fan remakes are really cool. Thus, go ahead and enjoy the following video and stay tuned for the Metal Gear Solid 2 Unreal Engine 4 video. I fucking love this. Have you seen this? I haven't.
It is amazing.
Cyborg Ninja is one of my all-time favourite characters in Metal Gear Solid, or Grey Fox, as he may be known to. That looks like Nathan Drake. Nathan Snake.
This, I watched it earlier. Obviously when we go back upstairs, you need to put sound on and just watch this. It is amazing.
I remember watching this like on the PS1.
It's so good.
Oh, he's such a class character.
It's not like you can't get him in Fortnite now either, is it? They've made absolutely no shame about putting Solid Snake and a version of him.
Snake's model's really good.
It is.
Some of the other models, as it mentions in the article there, obviously this is only fan created content. There's only so many hours and stuff that you can invest in things like this, but you can tell they've put a lot of time into Snake. Cyborg Ninja's model is more like almost like a reskin of what was in Ground Zeroes or Revengeance. I actually prefer the original Cyborg Ninja kind of models, but oh. How cool is that animation? Okay. I'm not watching it. I will watch it all. Oh, it's gone. Get out of here, little bitch. Get out of here. Get out. Get down.
I mean, this is only like a minute and a half, 2 minute video anyway. It doesn't play much more.
Metal Gear.
He goes out the door, but look at the hood. The hood looks so good.
Ah, badass.
But yeah, that's the end of it.
That is class. Well done to Erasmus and Maxime, however you pronounce it. Amazing work. I love the fact that there are people out there that just have that level of passion and creativity. Mm-hmm. Those two combined, passion with creativity, just creates some absolute next level
bangers.
Absolutely. Anyway, so let's move on swiftly as we wrap up with something that is straight up my street. Obviously, PUBG, ding, is a game that I play a lot, and if you've been around on this show, then you will be well aware of that. So we have a couple of bits of information that have been floating around in the PUBG community and on PUBG's social channels over the last couple of days. So jump into this. So this is a Labs report on the Motor Glider. So for those of you that don't know what PUBG Labs is, that's essentially... For all intents and purposes, it's like the testing server on PUBG, but within the main game. So essentially you get the PUBG game, and then you get the testing server, which is a separate game where they do testing stuff. Labs is stuff that they test within the main game itself on the live servers. Anyway, they added a motor glider, which is exactly that, a paraglider kind of thing with an engine on it. You get two people in it, you can fly around. It absolutely rinses fuel, but one person drives and another person can shoot or lob grenades or whatever, and it's pretty cool. I've seen some stuff on stream. It's only been on PC, but after a little bit of testing, it is now almost ready to go live. So let's quickly run through PUBG Labs report, Motor Glider. This is obviously taken from the PUBG.com website and was shared on social media by PUBG support. So PUBG at PUBG_support on Twitter. So the Motor Glider is coming to PUBG live servers. Get ready to take flight and take down your enemy from above. Welcome back to PUBG Labs, intrepid survivors. We hope everyone had fun. Do you know? Have you seen Jumanji? Welcome to the Jungle. or even the first Jumanji.
Oh, yeah, I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one.
Well, that reminds me, the Intrepid Survivors, it reminds me of the Welcome, Dr. Bravestone. Jumanji has been waiting for your return, or whatever, that kind of thing. It reminds me of that kind of thing. Anyway, welcome back to PUBG Labs, Intrepid Survivors. We hope everyone had fun flying the unfriendly skies above the battlegrounds in our motor gliders. We love seeing your reactions to the winged wonders as you took to the air and been more impressed with many of your dogfighting abilities. Thanks to the monumental amount of support we received for the motor glider, we will be releasing it to PC live servers on January the 15th, which is tomorrow. The majority of the mechanics for the Avery asset will remain largely the same as we described in our PUBG Labs motor glider announcement, with a few changes. Console players will be able to take flight with the launch of Season 6. So that's a separate piece of news as well. Season 6 is just about to hit PC, and then will most likely hit console either a week or 2 weeks afterwards. So the motor glider will be available on Erangel and Miramar, the two larger maps. The motor glider has 2 seats, one for the pilot and one for the passenger, who can shoot and use any weapon from the back seat. Motor glider will be spawned around the map. I won't go through all of that bit, because that's kind of intricate details. If you're interested in PUBG, that will mean stuff to you. If not, you will fall asleep. Essentially, they tell you how often it's going to spawn, the speeds and controls and things like that. What we can do is scroll down and see what it looks like. Ta-da! Hey! So there's essentially 10 of those spawn on the map. Get into it. Jobs are good on it. It will rinse up fuel, so you'll need to get a few fuel cans. And yeah, they give you a bunch of stats below that. But I did see a comment. It doesn't actually mention it. Actually, does it? Maybe I just read it. Yeah, console players will be able to take flight with the launch of Season 6. So essentially, from tomorrow, this will be available for anyone that plays PUBG on PC, and then within a couple of weeks, it will be on console too. So that's good to see. I've been looking forward to it coming to console for a while, because admittedly, and probably shown by the fact that I've been playing a bit of Fortnite and thing, PUBG is getting a little stale. Maybe it's because I'm at the end of the season, and I've finished the season pass 2 weeks ago, so I'm kind of just playing to do my dailies. I don't have anything meaty to tuck into. So I like the fact that this is coming, because it adds a little bit of a different dimension. Like adding lightsabers into Fortnite, it added a dimension that I could relate to. This might give me a different dimension that makes it a little bit tastier. But then, jumping ahead, I will jump to us here whilst we pick up a couple of bits. So one thing we did mention within that as well is Season 6. Obviously, that starts tomorrow for anyone that plays PUBG. So I've picked out a couple of tweets... a couple of rumour-filled bits of information for us to look at. PUBG Season 6 is confirmed to be starting, but there hasn't been much more confirmed after that. I mean, there could have been, but I've not seen it. This is what I've have to go off at the time being. So this is a tweet from Wacky Jackie, who is a PUBG content creator. It says there on the side, he's a YouTuber / Twitch streamer, and he plays a lot of PUBG. He's really good. Check him out if you're interested. Anyway, PUBG Season 6 is being teased by all official PUBG channels. What he has there is one of 2 pictures that was shared by the official PUBG channels as well. They shared 2. One looks like it potentially could be an upgraded Miramar map, which is the desert map, and another one is this, which keeps doing the rounds. We'll have another link afterwards, which will give a bit more context to what we're looking at, but I'll read through the tweet. So, PUBG Season 6 is being teased by all official PUBG channels. Are these bots in the picture? They've got identical generic clothing, custom-looking vests, new special AK skins with some kind of makeshift look, no backpack, and the guy they target has a backpack equals player. So is that bots versus player? As we then come back to me. Hi. Then jump into our final link where we can kind of... look at this is Lunar Gaming, which I've never heard of, but they've made it onto the scoop. Another first timer. So do you know what? Well done to the games industry at large for getting the attention of the most electrifying video games contest in the world. So PUBG Xbox new map being added for Season 6. Obviously, this says Xbox, but yeah, we'll take that with a pinch, because we can assume safely, most likely, that it will be in the same for PC and console too. Obviously, everything will come to PC first. So the next PUBG update will bring a new season that is rumoured to include a brand new map. So that image that you can see there is the other image I was talking about. Obviously, there's a desert map on PUBG. That is rumoured to either be an upgrade to the Miramar map, which some of that has happened already, or it'll be a brand new 2x2 map. So this says a PUBG Xbox new map was revealed by the official PUBG Twitter account and looks to be a new 2x2 island map located in the Mediterranean Sea close to Tunisia. No idea where he's got that information from. No idea where he's got the Xbox bit from. But we'll go with it. PUBG Xbox new map. I mean, this does sound like it's written by for Keyword and Click Central, but we've clicked. Yeah. We're here. It's fine. Let's keep going. Season 6 is arriving next week on PC and on console in 2 weeks' time, for January 30th, with Season 5 ending this week. The new map is expected to feature in the test server on the PC in the next few days. One of the key features of the map, rumoured to be called Jamilia, which is Arabic for beautiful, is destructible environments, which is where that picture of the bots, as Wacky Jackie says, comes into play. The feature is possibly seen in one of the teaser images where the walls look deteriorated. The image shows soldiers, possibly Soviet, based on the flak jacket design and the AKs, shooting through a wall. So this is what we spoke about off stream when I said it kind of reminds me of like Rainbow Six Siege kind of thing with destructible environments. Next thing is PUBG C4. Another potential upcoming feature being added in Season 6 Shakedown, which is the rumoured name for the Season Pass, is C4. In a Twitter post earlier today, the official PUBG account posted a picture of C4 with the message, "If you hear it tick, it's already too late." The tweet was quickly deleted, but the feature is almost certainly being added soon. So, lots around, and there is a guy that we have kind of spoken about in the past called Player IGN or Player Igan. Don't know how you pronounce it, but he is a data miner and he's gone through and pulled out this information. None of it was being confirmed to that level. I believe this article from Lunar Gaming is kind of insinuating that it is or it has been. I don't believe that is the case. I mean, things could have changed while we've been out. Obviously, it's now 11:22 in the UK, past 10 a.m. So yeah, we could have had more news coming out today with it being expected tomorrow. However, it looks like we might have a new map. We will have the glider coming in. A new season pass is coming, and yeah, destructible environments and potentially bots versus AI kind of. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Phantom's mentioned that he thinks that Morning Phantom anyway. He said, "I got 4 hours on PUBG. What a game that could have been if they would have made content for it. It's dead now. It really is." What do you think of that?
Yeah. Do you know what? I completely agree with him. 4K hours on PUBG is a lot of hours, so good effort on that. But I think there was a couple of things. I mean, it's easy to say it in hindsight. If PUBG would have gone free to play, we know that now with the success of Fortnite. If PUBG had gone free to play, I think that would have helped it. But do
you think it's too late?
Yeah, I think it will only go down. It's kind of widely accepted that PUBG does so well in terms of its viewing figures and its social exposure because the stats are propped up by the Asian market. Obviously, Korea, where it's developed, Japan, China, there's a lot of players in that region that are massively invested in the game, but the stats are declining in Europe and America. So yes, they did a H1, but they reached bigger heights. Exactly. I think, yeah, the issue was that Fortnite was free to play, Fortnite Battle Royale, but Epic kind of did a roll of the dice that wasn't really going to cost them anything. Fortnite had built Save the World. Yeah. Save the World didn't really do anything. I know a couple of people that bought it, and I literally hadn't even heard of it. It passed me by and everything. It was one of those things that when I'm watching an E3 conference and you'll get like the Call of Duty's world premiere kind of things like that, and then you go through to, oh, look at this cartoony mobile looking game. Nah, you're all right. I'm going to ignore this part of the presentation. And Fortnite Save the World was one of those games. However, because they'd put the time spending a couple of years building this game off live servers, there was no beta, there was no early access. They did the full due diligence in creating this game. Yeah. They then said, okay, well, how about we get rid of all of the team elements and just have it in ever-reducing circles? And yeah, jobs are good. So they had all the mechanics and everything built. They had all of the art style defined, and the fact that the art style was not realistic, it's that cartoony element, it makes it easier to design for than it does with PUBG, where you've got to start worrying about lighting and different and all the rest. Fortnite just had everything there. It was like, okay, we've got free to play. We've got it was early access, and it still is in early access. I mean, 2 years later on, so they kind of they did all of the right things from a marketing standpoint. PUBG arguably still is the best narrative in a battle royale game, hands down, in my opinion, and fairly widely accepted as well. Also, by the way, shout out to Winnerforce for the follow. Missed that, but thank you very much, dude. Much appreciated. PUBG definitely has the best playthrough narrative from a streamer's perspective and from a player's perspective as well. But there's just the fact that they are adding in the gliders, the fact that there's a new 2v2, 2x2 map potentially coming, there's C4, and then there's AI versus human elements and stuff. That's all really cool.
Yeah.
But even yesterday, I played like 3 or 4 games only on PlayStation, and you still see it on PC. Not as much, but you still see it. There's still too many fuck's sake moments where you just like you'll get stuck walking over a rock, and the rock will be about like, so the floor's that, and then the rock is like that, a little nubbin. Your feet are like this big, and you'll go, oh, can't get over it, and you'll be like stuck, and then you get shot in the back. You're like, just sort it out. Literally, just make that a smooth surface. Yeah. But make it look like a rock and things like that. So the storyline it tells, as everything you pick up is such a... Yeah, absolutely. The fact that... I had this conversation with someone when I was streaming PUBG a while ago, and they were saying, yeah, but there's nothing to it. There's no aim. It's like the whole game is the aim. You go in knowing that you are writing a story. You don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what you're going to use. You don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to have enough meds? Is the circle going to be kind to you? Are you going to need a vehicle? Is there going to be any vehicles? That is the story. I won Twitch Rivals for PUBG. I remember. I remember you talking about something else as well. What? I was trying to remember this the other day. I was going to mention it to you. Were you kind of like playing in some sort of esports bar? Was that Twitch Rivals, or was that something else where you missed out on qualification for some huge event or something because you were playing in an esports bar and you didn't realise how close it was or something? Red Bull, that's the one. That's what it was. Was it the Red Bull Gaming Sphere? Is that where it was? I can't remember. But yeah, it was essentially playing to compete for some big event thing, kind of like in an esports bar. And was it like Duff Internet, or did it drop out, or did you not realise how close it was, or something like that? Yeah, that was it. It was there, and they were making so much noise in the thing that you couldn't hear, and he missed out by like nothing pretty much of attending this event.
Well, from the comments that I've read on this,
for $100,000, fuck.
I've just been going through the comments on there, and a lot of people seem to think that it's team deathmatch that they're adding in the 2v2 match. They think that they've got the 2v2 map, 2x2, shall we say, the 2x2 map, that they think it's going to be team deathmatch, which is why it's so closed off. But they also think that they're going to add bots in for people who aren't a high enough account to be able to go up against other people. So like Fortnite did when they released Chapter 2, you go in and you play against bots, so you can learn how to build, you can get a few kills under your belt, rather than like me dropping in.
Dead.
Yeah, exactly. So there's quite a few theories that are going on around there as well.
Interesting.
They were saying that it's got to be team deathmatch because you already have your loadout, so you have no backpack because you've already got what you've got, and then you respawn in later on. Because when we played, they do like the event stuff, didn't they? They did
limited time mode kind of stuff. So you get like shotguns only.
Yeah,
like
so you don't need a backpack for that.
Yeah.
So there is some kind of truth behind it, potentially. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, there has been rumour of a team deathmatch bit coming for a while, so if that is what it is, then that kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense. But imagine missing out on a £100,000 tournament because of a bit of a loudmouth. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Phantom no longer goes to the Red Bull Gaming Sphere, because after trashing it, he's not allowed back. Fuck you guys, fuck this shit. So yes, anyway, that is it. Almost an hour and a half into the scoop today. We're going to end it here just as Phantom gets here. God, I mean, once he arrives, that's it. We've hit peak. We have to go. That's the end of it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, it's just the way it is. But no, that is it. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. Quite a big show. Obviously, Xbox potentially getting the Steam store on it, on the Xbox Series X. Obviously, just a rumour. Not convinced, but we will see. Not PS5, PlayStation even, and the PS5 will not be at E3. They've confirmed that yesterday in a GamesIndustry.biz interview. So yes, some big snippets.
And something about PUBG.
Yeah. I'm only going to be playing it every day for the next 6 years. It's fine. Plus some stuff on Metal Gear Solid fan remakes too. We will obviously include all of that in the show notes for anyone that wants to look through those. And if you were listening to this on the audio versions of the podcast, then make sure you check those out. Especially, I mean, obviously, you want to look at the PUBG and the Xbox stuff, but the quality of some of those fan remakes and the Metal Gear stuff, make sure you check that out. It's pretty good too. But that kind of is it. We will wrap things up now because Josie will be live with more Death Stranding in about half an hour. But anything you want to add before we disappear, Bibarino?
Yeah, as usual, if you do see anything knocking about the video game atmosphere, then feel free to tag either myself, Bibi, we've got Bibinho, Graham Day, Graham cream_day, or Jeroen on Twitter, including all of the Ice Cream Uploads social platforms. We will pick them up and talk about them in the very next show.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump back to the front cam because it's always nice to finish with a big setup of the room. Thank you very much for being here. Like I said, Josie will be back in around 30 minutes. We will be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. from my bedroom, because that's how things roll on a Wednesday and a Thursday. Until then, have yourselves a very, very lovely day. And ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to stay frosty.